News at 5 in association with Accoland Amusement Park, Annapurna Foods, Junior Holics, and Biz Farm Biscuits.
Heavy rainfall continues to batter Assam. No relief in sight as Met Department predicts more rainfall. Frequent landslides, the new challenge in Guwahati. Situation also grim in Dima Hasao and other parts. Flood situation also grim in Meghalaya. Landslides wreak havoc in Sikkim. Meghalaya government constitutes regional committees to deal with crisis. Global Naga Forum leaders to meet Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma. Deliberations to focus on Naga peace process. And highways blocked, rail traffic disrupted as protests erupt over Agnipath scheme in several states. Hello and welcome to News at 5. I'm Priyadarshini Medhi and we begin the bulletin with a big story at this hour. A delegation of the Trinamool Congress MPs called on the Election Commission and submitted a memorandum in connection with the recent incidents of violence in Tripura. Briefing media person Swagata Roy informed that the delegation raised the matter of recent violence in Surma constituency, where 70 families who had joined the TMC were allegedly attacked by BJP leaders. The 6 MP delegation comprised of Swagata Roy, Kakoli Ghosh Das Tidar, Jawahar Sirkar, Pratima Mandal, Luisinho Filero, and Nusrat Jahan Ruby. So viewers, a delegation of the Trinamool Congress MPs called on the Election Commission and submitted a memorandum in connection with the recent incidents of violence in Tripura. And meanwhile, briefing media person Swagata Roy informed that the delegation raised the matter of recent violence in Surma constituency, where 70 families who had joined the TMC were allegedly attacked by BJP leaders. The 6 MP delegation comprised of Swagata Roy, Kakoli Ghosh Das Tidar, Jawahar Sirkar, Pratima Mandal, Luisinho Filero, and Nusrat Jahan Ruby.
মুখ্য নির্বাচন কমিশনের সঙ্গে দেখা করি, তাকে একটা মেমোরান্ডাম দিই। আমাদের দলে ছিলেন ডক্টর কাকলি ঘোষ দস্তিদার, ডক্টর প্রতিমা মণ্ডল, মিস্টার লুইজিয়ানো ফালিরো, নুসরাত জাহান রুহি এবং জহর সরকার। আমরা যে মেমোরান্ডাম দিই তাতে গতকালের একটা ঘটনার কথা আমরা বলি, যে ওখানে 4টে জায়গায় নির্বাচন হচ্ছে, আগরতলা, বর্তোয়ালি, সুরমা এবং যুবরাজনগর। সুরমাতে গত রাত্রিরে 70 জন বিজেপি থেকে তৃণমূল কংগ্রেসে যোগদান করে। কাল রাত্রিরে বিজেপির গুন্ডারা আমাদের লোকেদের উপর নৃশংস আক্রমণ নামিয়ে আনে এবং আমাদের অনেক লোক আহত হয়, একটা পরিবারের অনেক, এবং যারা আহত হয়েছে তার মধ্যে মহিলা এবং শিশু আছে। ওদের ধারালো অস্ত্র নিয়ে ওদের উপর আক্রমণ করা হয়। আমরা তার ভিডিও ইলেকশন কমিশনকে জমা দিয়েছি। মুখ্য নির্বাচনী কমিশনার রাজীব কুমার তিনি বলেন যে তিনি আমাদের ভিডিও পেয়েছেন, তিনি রিপোর্ট চেয়ে পাঠিয়েছেন চিফ ইলেকটোরাল অফিসার ত্রিপুরার কাছে। তিনি অবজারভারকে বলেছেন ওখানে গিয়ে রিপোর্ট দিতে। উনি আমাদের আশ্বস্ত করেছেন যে প্রত্যেকটা বুথ সিসিটিভির অধীনে থাকবে এবং ওয়েবকাস্ট হবে প্রত্যেকটা বুথ। 6 কোম্পানি কেন্দ্রীয় বাহিনী থাকবে। আমরা আশা করি যে মুখ্য নির্বাচনী কমিশনার যে ব্যবস্থাগুলো নেবেন বলেছেন সেগুলো নিলে হয়তো নির্বাচনটা শান্তিপূর্ণভাবে হবে।
And now moving on to big national story. Nearly 2 days after the centre announced the Agnipath scheme, massive protests erupted in various parts of the country as defence job seekers voiced concerns over job security and pension. Protests took an ugly turn, especially in Bihar and Haryana, where several incidents of arson were reported, among various other states, as agitating candidates staged demonstrations against the center. All right, now moving on to the big story related to the Naga peace talks. Well, a delegation of leading civil society leaders from Nagaland is all set to meet NEDA convener and Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma in Guwahati shortly over the Naga peace talks. Well, the delegation comprising leaders of the Global Naga Forum will meet NEDA convener and Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma for a discussion on the peace process. Well, the Global Naga Forum delegation said that they have high hopes from NEDA convener Himanta Biswa Sharma as far as facilitation of early solution is concerned. This despite Chief Minister Sharma making it imply clear that he is not directly involved in the Naga peace talks, with his role being limited to working with the core committee on Naga political issue in ensuring there is no break in talks. Well, speaking to Northeast Live, the delegation said that it expects to have a fruitful discussion with their NEDA convener, who they feel is going to play a very important role in the days ahead as far as the peace process is concerned. The delegation said that the people of the Northeast look up to the NEDA convener as an effective facilitator to the political solution at this crucial junction.
Welcome to Northeast Live. What brings the team? What brings the team to Guwahati?
Thank you, and especially to Northeast Life for always covering the Naga issue and issues which concern all of us. We're here actually to meet the Assam Chief Minister, Mr. Himanta Biswa, this evening, and we hope we will have a fruitful discussion.
So, if I may ask, is it again related to the Naga peace talks?
Yes, definitely, it is a continuation of that because he plays a very important role, and he is going to play, I think, a very important role in how we look at the days ahead.
So, how do you see his role here? Of course, he has always maintained that he is not directly associated with the Naga peace talks. He has mainly to do with the core committee, and their role is to ensure that the talks between the government of India and the NSCNI and the stakeholders go on. How do you see Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma's role in all this?
Yeah, first of all, Mr. Wasbir and your team, thank you so much. We are very happy to be here. Yeah, our honorable CM of Assam, he may not directly involve, but the people of the Northeast as a whole and people from the mainland, they knows very well that he is one of the important political leader from the Northeast. And, as a NIDA convener, he is also very powerful, having a connection with all the, political parties in the Northeast. So we strongly feel that he will be very effective to facilitate, between the government of India and the Naga people to bring a political solution at this crucial moment.
A middle point has to be reached at. That's what a lot many people, intellectuals, the common people, the politicians had been saying. What's your view? It's not just on the onus of the government of India, but equally the NSC and IM as well. That is the common view in Nagaland today.
Absolutely. There has to be a meeting point. But my point I want to make it to you is that Northeast is more important to the mainland India than mainland India is to the Northeast. Unless there is peace in Northeast India, we cannot have development. And unless this Naga uh, solution come, there cannot be peace in Northeast India. This is a vicious cycle. But we trust in the wisdom and the diplomacy of our Chief Minister Soma and also his political power, and that we believe that he is humble. He won't say, I have the answer, but Delhi will trust him because of his ability and his proven records in the past. So we trust that he will do something, and we believe in him. We have faith in him. Yeah.
In an interaction with Team Northeast Live in our Guwahati headquarters, the delegation comprising Global Naga Forum leaders Chuba Ozukum, Dr. Vizier Sanyo, Professor Rosemary Juvichu, and James Wanglet, former Home Minister of Arunachal Pradesh and Member Advisory Board Global Naga Forum, was welcomed by Northeast Live Editor-in-Chief Wasbir Hussain.
You coming from Nagaland and Arunachal Pradesh to our studios, the Northeast Live studios. Thank you very much. And our staff have always seen you on TV, and we used to talk remote. But today you are physically here in our studios. A warm welcome, Dr. Vizier Sanyu, a well-known historian, Dr. Rosemary Zuvitsu, Mr. Chuba Zukum, and Mr. James Wanglat. Are you happy with the coverage of Northeast Live? Because we are trying to bring in all the voices from the Northeast. That is very important for our viewers. All voices, divergent voices. At the end of the day, it is the people of Nagaland or the Nagas who have to decide their future. But it is, as a channel, it's our duty. We are always striving to present all points of view. Are you happy with our coverage, Northeast Live?
Yes, definitely. I think there have been very lively debates. We may not agree as Nagas also on the panel about everything, but I think it's been healthy debates. And I think this is the way forward. Your channel and your network has actually been very fair on bringing panelists and on bringing discussions to the national level. And surprisingly, you also have top government officials at the central government who are constantly 24 hours looking at your channel, which I think is very important right now at this critical juncture, also for the Naga peace process.
Yes, yeah. Only thing I want to say, every participants should have a kind of a feeling that they should try to convince the listeners without any divisive feelings, but one should have the guts and to say something about the peaceful existence among a different section of the people.
So, viewers, a delegation of the leading civil society leaders from Nagaland is all set to meet NEDA convener and Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma in Guwahati shortly after over the Naga peace talks. And meanwhile, the delegation comprising leaders of the Global Naga Forum will meet NEDA convener and Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma for a discussion on the peace process. All right, to know more on this, we are being joined over phone line with our Chief of Bureau, Arindam Das. So, Arindam, the Global Naga Forum delegation is all set to meet the Assam Chief Minister. So, what is the update that you have at this point in time, and when will the meeting begin? Has it already begun, Arindam?
Well, the schedule of this meeting was at 5 p.m., but so far the Chief Minister of Assam as well as NEDA convener Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma has not arrived at the location where this meeting is scheduled to take place. But yes, this is a crucial meeting because a five-member delegation of Global Naga Forum is meeting NEDA convener and Assam Chief Minister Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma over the Naga peace process because the Naga peace process has reached a deadlock after the NSCN-IM stood adamant by its demand for a separate flag and a separate constitution, which has not been allowed so far. In fact, the final decision from the NSCN-IM came after the General Assembly of the NSCN-IM, which was held in the Hebron camp at Dimapur on 31st of May, and it was in that meeting only that the NSCN-IM came with a very strong statement that the talks will not move ahead unless and until the demand for a separate Naga flag and a Naga constitution is incorporated in the talks. But yes, we have seen that in the past couple of months, the peace process has been moving like a pendulum because we have heard from the government side of the ministers, in fact, former Chief Minister of Nagaland, S.T. Jamir, as well as other leaders in the Nagaland government right now, like the Deputy Chief Minister and others, have stated that the Naga peace process should end soon because it's 25 long years now and it should end. But the NSC and IM is not ready to buy what the Nagaland government is trying to give to them. So at this point, Naga peace process with the NSC and IM has reached a deadlock. So it's a motive to clear this stalemate in the peace process. This crucial meeting of the Global Naga Forum, which is comprised of 5 members, who will be meeting Assam Chief Minister Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma, who is also the NEDA convener at a location in Guwahati. The meeting was scheduled to take place at 5 p.m. But so far, Assam Chief Minister as well as NEDA convener has not reached the location, so the meeting is yet to begin. But yes, what will be the agenda of this meeting? What proposal the Global Naga Forum will place before the Assam Chief Minister as well as Naga as well as the NEDA convener is yet to be known. But yes, we will be knowing all the details after the meeting ends when the Global Naga Peace Forum members meet us and they tell us in detail about what deliberated in this meeting.
Well, Arindam, what is also significant is that the Naga CSOs are looking forward to a possible participation by the NEDA convener in peace process.
Yes, that has been coming in the light because the Nagaland government also wants Assam Chief Minister as well as NEDA convener Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma to take an active participation in this peace process, to carry forward the peace process. But we have taken the reaction of Assam Chief Minister as well as NEDA convener on several occasions post this development where the Nagaland government.
Das, thank you so much for all those details. All right, viewers. So a delegation of leading civil society leaders from Nagaland is all set to meet NEDA convener and Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma in Guwahati shortly over the Naga peace talks. And meanwhile, as I've already mentioned, that the delegation comprising leaders of the Global Naga Forum will meet NEDA convener and Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma for a discussion on the peace process. All right, to know more on this, we are being joined over phone line with our editor-in-chief, Wasbir Hussain. So, Wasbir, Global Naga Forum leaders is all set to meet Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma. Your take on this, Wasbir?
Yes, Priya, this is going to be a very important meeting that the Global Naga Forum is going to have with the Chief Minister and NEDA convener Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma in Guwahati a short while from now. We must know that what is the Global Naga Forum? The Global Naga Forum is a broad platform of Naga civil society leaders. Now, if we take the 4-member delegation, there is Dr. Vizier Sanyu, a well-known historian who is the president of the Overseas Naga Association. There is Professor Rosemary Zuvitsu, an academic and advisor of the Naga Mothers Association. Then there is Mr. Chuba Uzukum, who is an advisor of the Naga Hoho, and Mr. James Wanglat. And Mr. Wanglat is the former Home Minister of Arunachal Pradesh, and he is an Arunachali Naga. So this 4-member Naga delegation, Naga civil society delegation, under the banner of the Global Naga Forum, is going to meet Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma. Now, they have themselves said that Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma may not be taking a direct role as far as the Naga peace talks is concerned, but these leaders have earlier in an interaction this morning with Northeast Live, they said that Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma can play a very big role and a role than that of a facilitator. At this point in time, as Arindam has said, the Naga talks are in a deadlock. This is particularly after the 31st May National Assembly declaration by the NSCNIM that they will not budge from their demand of a flag and constitution, of a separate flag and constitution for the Naga people. So after that, the ball has been thrown back at the center's court. Now, unless the center comes up with a new offer, the NSCNIM is not in a position to react. That is the key stalemate. That is the key point of which the current deadlock has set in. So in this backdrop, the civil society delegation coming over to Guwahati from Kohima and other places and meeting the NEDA convener, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma, basically I feel that they're going to request Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma to use his good offices with the central government and try to resolve this deadlock in order to achieve a breakthrough. So this is the main purpose why the delegation has come. They're going to present their views. They're going to perhaps request Himanta Biswa Sharma to intervene in the matter. Of course, we all know that Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma in the last couple of weeks have made several mentions that he is not directly involved with the Naga peace talks, and that it is up to the Naga stakeholders in the peace process, that is the government of India and the negotiating groups. He had also said, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma had also said that if anything has to be told to the central leadership, it has to be done by the elected chief minister of Nagaland, that is Mr. Nephew Rio. But despite all this, the delegation is here because they feel, as NEDA convener, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma exerts a lot of influence, not just in the Northeast, but also in the corridors of power in New Delhi. That is the purpose why they are meeting the NEDA convener this evening.
Right, Wasbir, as we already mentioned that the Global Naga Forum delegation, they said that they have very high hopes from the NADA convener, but time and again, Chief Minister Sharma, he very clearly mentioned that he is not directly involved in the Naga peace talks. So all eyes on today's meeting, Wasbir.
Absolutely. Let's wait and see what happens, whether Himanta Biswa Sharma agrees to intervene on the matter, if there is a request at all from the Global Naga Forum. The Global Naga Forum is also expected to apprise Dr. Sharma of the latest developments as far as the Naga peace talks is concerned. We'll wait and watch because the meeting is just about to take place in Guwahati.
Right, Wasbir, thank you so much for all those details. And now it's time for a very short break. Stay tuned, I'll be right back.
Northeast Live, the most viewed news channel in the region. On YouTube, unmatched coverage. Evening Prime, the primetime news at 7. Now, in a whole new look. Only on Northeast Live. Your station, your voice.
Welcome back. You're watching News at 5, and now moving on to some other news. Let's take a look at the headlines once again. Heavy rainfall continues to batter Assam. No relief in sight as Met Department predicts more rainfall. Frequent landslides, the new challenge in Guwahati. Situation also grim in Dima Hasao and other parts. Flood situation also grim in Meghalaya. Landslides wreak havoc in Sikkim. Meghalaya government constitutes regional committees to deal with crisis. Global Naga Forum leaders to meet Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma. Deliberations to focus on Naga peace process. And highways blocked, rail traffic disrupted as protests erupt over Agnipat scheme in several states. And moving on to Meghalaya now. Well, floods and landslides continue to wreak havoc in the region, disrupting communication and throwing normal life out of gear. Well, situation continues to be precarious in multiple parts of the region, with no let-up in rainfall since yesterday. Heavy rains have cut off the Guwahati-Silchar route via Meghalaya's Jantia Hills, leaving scores of vehicles stranded on both sides. Well, these are dramatic visuals coming in from Lumshnong in East Jantia Hills, where communication has been disrupted after a part of the National Highway 6 collapsed due to raging waters flowing along the route. Following the incident, the East Jantia Hills police closed the road to heavy vehicles. Well, besides necessary assistance is being provided to stranded passengers and drivers. Not only this, incessant rains had also triggered landslides in the Sonapur area in East Jantia Hills. So, viewers, floods and landslides continue to wreak havoc in the region, disrupting communication and throwing normal life out of gear. And meanwhile, situation continues to be precarious in multiple parts of the region, with no let-up in rainfall since yesterday. Well, heavy rains have cut off the Guwahati-Silchar route via Meghalaya's Jantia Hills, leaving scores of vehicles stranded on both sides. Well, these are dramatic visuals coming in from Lumshnong in East Jantia Hills, where communication has been disrupted after a part of the National Highway 6 collapsed due to raging waters flowing along the route. And following the incident, the East Jantia Hills police closed the road to heavy vehicles. And meanwhile, besides, necessary assistance is being provided to stranded passengers and drivers. Not only this, incessant rains had also triggered landslides in the Sonapur area in East Jantia Hills. And meanwhile, these are visuals coming in from parts of East Khasi Hills in Meghalaya, where incessant rains has led to water logging in several areas. Meanwhile, Cherrapunji records a massive 811.6 mm rainfall in the last 24 hours, the highest in the last 27 years, while Mawsynram, which is 10-kilometer aerial distance away and also the wettest place on planet Earth, records 710.6 mm rainfall. And worth mentioning here, on June 1995, the town nestled in the East Khasi Hills gauged 1,563.3 mm of rainfall. And meanwhile, a day before, on June 15, 1995, it received 930 millimeter of precipitation. Meanwhile, Meghalaya Chief Minister Kongwat Sangma reviewed the prevailing situation and held discussions with officials of the respective district administrations. In this meeting, it was decided that 4 regional committees would be formed to monitor and take swift action as and when necessary if heavy rainfall leads to serious consequences.
Last night and early morning, because of heavy rainfall in different parts of the state, especially in East Jayantha Hills district, certain very important road connections have been damaged quite severely. I had taken a review meeting on video conferencing with all the respective deputy commissioners and officials from the different districts, as well as honorable ministers had joined. And post the meeting, we have decided to form 4 regional committees to be headed by respective ministers. The Jayantha Hills, which will take care of East and West Jayantha Hills, Mr. Lakman Rumbui, who is the Honorable Home Minister, along with the Revenue Minister, Mr. Kermen Shila. Apart from that, we have formed a committee for Ribhoy and for East Khasi Hills, and we have asked our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, Mr. Preston Tinsong, along with other leaders and other district administration officials and departments to monitor the situation in East and East Khasi Hills and Ribhoy district, the committee for West Khasi Hills and for Southwest Khasi Hills. And we have asked Mr. Renington Tonkar to be the chairman of this committee. For the entire Garo Hills region, that is the 5 districts of North Garo Hills, East Garo Hills, Southwest Garo Hills, South Garo Hills, and West Garo Hills, we have asked Mr. James Sangma to be the chairman of this regional committee. So we will be monitoring the situation closely in the next 24 hours to 48 hours, and we'll be having another review meeting tomorrow to see the situation and take stock of the situation tomorrow after 24 hours.
Meanwhile, heavy rains continue to batter Guwahati for the 3rd consecutive day. Authorities are keeping a close watch on the situation, especially in localities like Anil Nagar, Nabin Nagar, Hatigaon, Rukmini Gaon, Beltola and Chanmari, where waterlogging continues. While relief camps have been set up for the people in distress, the incessant downpour has disrupted the ongoing restoration works being carried out by the GMC. Well, worth mentioning here, the GMC has deployed as many as 17 water pumps to drain out the excess water from streets and roads. It may be mentioned here that the Met Department had earlier issued a red alert till today. It now remains to be seen if there is any improvement in the weather conditions. Meanwhile, more landslides have been reported from parts of Guwahati. Well, at least 2 persons were injured in a massive landslide reported in Ajanta Pot at Noonmati area. The duo have been rushed to the Guwahati Medical College and Hospital. Meanwhile, another landslide has been reported from the Kamakya Gate area where mud along with heavy stones came down from the Nilachal hills, thereby damaging guard walls and a few homes. Likewise, landslide was also reported from Hengrabari area. Here, large portion of land fell into an apartment of Hilltown residential complex, damaging it to a considerable extent. Kamrup Metropolitan Deputy Commissioner Pallav Jha expressed concern over the frequent landslides, with as many as 30 incidents reported so far in the last 3 days. DC Jha said that landslides were causing greater challenge this time the urban flooding. He also informed that 3 relief camps have been set up to shelter people from vulnerable areas.
Serious situation আমি ফেস করি আছো urban flooding আৰু more যে এবাৰ vulnerability যে চাইছো that is landslide last 2 দিনত আপোনাৰ more than 30 incidents of major আৰু minor landslide হৈছে 7টা major হৈছে যত মানুহ মৰিছেও ডে ফৰ yesterday আৰু কিছুমান জায়গাত ইনজুৰি হৈছে কিছুমানত আমাৰ ঘৰ ভাঙিছে শিফট কৰিবলগীয়া হৈছে আৰু সব অঞ্চলতে সব সাৰ্কেলতে হৈ আছে সো we are concerned relief camps ইতিমধ্যে আমি 3টা বনাইছো যত মানুহ ভয় আছে এবিলাকক শিফট কৰিছো আজিও আমাৰ হেল্পলাইন নম্বৰ যোৱা পৰহি মুকলি হৈ গৈছিলে বহুত মান ফোন আহি আছে এবিলাকক আমি ৰেসপন্ড কৰি আছো আজি ৰাতিপুৱাও 1:30টাত আমি কিছুমান মানুহ লগত যোগাযোগ কৰিলো নাৰেংগী সাইডত যেবিলাক অলপ ভয়ত আছে সেইবিলাকক কৈছো যে আপোনালোক শিফট কৰি লওক আৰু যে আৰবান ফ্লাডিং এৰিয়াজ আছে তাতো আমাৰ যে মিনিমাম সা সুবিধা দিব লাগে খোৱা পানী হওক বা মিনিমাম ফুড ষ্টাফ হওক সেইবিলাক আমি দি আছো আৰু ৰিলিফ কেম্পছো আমাৰ ৰেডি আছে সো ৰাইজৰ ভাল সহযোগ পাইছো কমিউনিকেশ্যন চেনেলছো বিভিন্ন ধৰণৰ খোলা আছে এভাবে ইনফৰমেশনো সোনকালে আহি আছে সো হোপফুল কি weather परिस्थिति better হলে আমি এটো ওভারকাম কৰিব পাৰিম
And we have a big breaking news coming in at this point in time. 3 members of a family lost their lives after being buried under debris following a massive landslide in Laitleram of a Mount Flung block in East Khasi Hills district. On the other hand, 4 other members of the family were also left grievously injured. Meanwhile,
नमस्कार, समाचार नॉर्थ ईस्ट में आपका स्वागत है। मैं हूं रविंद्र चौहान। बुलेटिन की शुरुआत बाढ़ की खबरों से। पूर्वोत्तर में पिछले कई दिनों से हो रही बारिश के कारण भारी जान माल का नुकसान हुआ है। खासकर भूस्खलन के कारण पिछले 3 दिनों में 9 लोगों की मौत हो चुकी है। वहीं मेघालय के ईस्ट खासी हिल्स जिले के लारम के मावफ्लांग ब्लॉक में आज हुए भूस्खलन में 3 लोगों की मौत हो गई है। ये सभी एक ही परिवार के सदस्य थे। मिट्टी से दबने की वजह से तीनों की मौत हुई है, जबकि इस हादसे में परिवार के और 4 सदस्य गंभीर रूप से घायल हो गए हैं। इधर मेघालय सरकार ने मृतकों के परिवारों के लिए 4 लाख मुआवजे की घोषणा की है। तो आपको बता दें, ताजा हालात पूर्वोत्तर में बारिश के कारण बिगड़ते जा रहे हैं। जगह जगह भूस्खलन की घटना हो रही है। मेघालय में हुए भूस्खलन में 3 लोगों की मौत हो गई है। ये तीनों एक ही परिवार के थे, जबकि 4 इसमें घायल हुए हैं। मेघालय के ईस्ट खासी हिल्स जिले के लारम के मावफ्लांग ब्लॉक में आज हुए भूस्खलन में 3 लोगों की मौत हुई। ये सभी एक ही परिवार के सदस्य थे। मिट्टी में दबने की वजह से तीनों की मौत हुई है, जबकि इस हादसे में परिवार के और 4 सदस्य गंभीर रूप से घायल हो गए हैं। और इधर मेघालय सरकार ने मृतकों के परिवार के लिए 4 लाख मुआवजे की घोषणा की है। वहीं असम के ग्वालपारा जिले में भूस्खलन में 2 लोगों की मौत हो गई। जिले के आजाद नगर की ये घटना है। आजाद नगर में हुए भूस्खलन में भाई बहन की मौत हुई है। मृतकों की पहचान 10 वर्षीय हुसैन अली और 8 वर्षीय आसमा खातून के रूप में की गई। मूसलाधार बारिश के कारण रास्ते का किनारा खिसक गया, जिसमें दबने से दोनों बच्चों की मौत हुई है। एसडीआरएफ ने मलबे को हटाकर दोनों शवों को बाहर निकाल लिया है। इस घटना के बाद इलाके में मातम का माहौल है।